I'm Anthony Huberman, the Chief Curator of the Contemporary, and I'm happy to be presenting this big international group exhibition to the audience of the Contemporary. And the beginning point for this story is this idea of the speculative nature of knowledge, of this relationship between knowing things and not knowing things, and how those two states of awareness are not in opposition of each other. But not knowing, this idea of the state of not knowing is not the same as ignorance, but it is a particular way of knowing the world. This idea that when you're in a position where you don't know what something is about, or you don't understand something, it puts you in a state of kind of heightened curiosity, because you're kind of like, well, I'm not sure what this is. I'm interested in finding out. I have questions come to my mind. I'm thinking about it because I don't understand it. And that particular state is, I think, a state that is a very powerful one, and is one that should be embraced and celebrated rather than feared and be a source of anxiety. So the show, therefore, tries to establish a mood of play, of playfulness, around this idea of not knowing or not understanding, to try to encourage people to think that while they're in this world of contemporary art, that this is not a world, it does not necessarily have to be a source of anxiety, but this can actually be a very playful and liberating experience, because they're able to kind of play around in their thinking process. And so a lot of the mood the show establishes is one that encourages that sense of play. We need to make sure that we don't neglect this experience of not understanding. That not understanding of work of art is an experience that not only is an important one, but is one that needs to be safeguarded, and that there's a lot of operations at work in the way exhibitions are usually structured that try to do away with this not understanding, and try to kind of explain everything and try to make sure that people get it. And this exhibition, by establishing this playful mood, is trying to say, you know what, that feeling you have of, quote, not getting it, it can be actually a pretty fun place to be. It's a place where you can spend some time speculating, and that process of speculating can be playful and fun and liberating, because it doesn't have this kind of authoritative it that you don't have access to. And so, the exhibition really is is inspired by that experience that people sometimes have with contemporary art, of the kind of not feeling that there's this mysterious body of knowledge that they don't have in order to enjoy what's in front of them. And this exhibition is just kind of making the claim that, we're trying to make the claim, we're trying to kind of introduce the idea that that experience is not necessarily one that needs to be one of anxiety, but that can be one of, that can be much more enjoyable. What is it about? Like Socrates said many years ago, I know that I know nothing. This idea that it's not like the world is mysterious. There's knowing nothing is a particular kind of way of knowing the world. I mean, Socrates is the ultimate wise man. He wasn't interested in the mystery of the world. He was interested in understanding, human life. And so he had that knowledge, he had that certainty about the way the world works, and the way people think, and the way people are. But one of those things, part of that huge knowledge of his, is this appreciation on his part of not knowing, which kind of is one element of knowledge. It's part of how knowledge works. Knowledge is very incompleteness, is part of how knowledge operates. It's not the opposition. Knowing and not knowing are not two opposites. Knowledge and ignorance are not opposite of civilization is, you know. So often I find myself in a studio visit with a young artist and hear them talk about their process in making something, and talk about how once, you know, they're making it, once they start losing track of what the piece is about, is when they know they're onto something, and when they really feel starting to get excited about what's in the studio, is when they get to that point where this thing that's in front of them is actually starting to fly away from them, and they're not quite, you know, I mean, they've made it, they've put all of their knowledge in it, but it's when it starts containing that non-knowledge, when they start losing a grip of understanding it, is when it kind of comes alive. So anyway, it's kind of a, you know, don't fear the experience of not understanding. It's more about how that experience can actually help us appreciate the world in a much more vibrant and potentially playful way.